Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the VWSC Historics Round 9, live from Road America. I'm James Parfitt, going to be joined in the booth by Mr. Edward Hunter, who's going to come along for the ride with us here this afternoon. But as normal, we have got some housekeeping to talk about. Let's have a look at the schedule. It is not Spa, it is Road America there for the 125 miles of Road America. Then we go into Silverstone, the Nürburgring, Pagusa, Daytona, Mosport, and we finish the season off at Brands Hatch, which I'm really looking forward to. Should be a good one on that one. The track itself, 4.06 miles, 6.52 kilometers in length, built in 1955. 14 corners, the traditional orange zone there right at the beginning. You can see it all the way around through to turn 11. Basically, if they can overtake, but if any penalties are hitting that zone, they will be more severe. Keys to the race: mind multi-class passing, don't burn off the tyres, and beware of the kink. Well, that's pretty obvious. They're going to look at 2 stops, 120 litres here as well. They've got tyres on the right-hand side at the same time, the softs and the wets, to see how they get on. They call them the race tyres. Practically, they're just road tyres, no different to normal tyres, to be blatantly honest with you. Let's have a look at the standings. The GR5 SP2L Pros, at this moment in time, they're on the standings on the right hand side. You can see Dan Hurlott leading the way with Eduardo Benica only 1 point back. Nicholas Kirstens 2 points back from that. Then Johnny Gutierrez and Magnus Dahlgren, Oliver Day rounding out the top 10. You can see everybody else in behind that. Scudiera, Bridget Bardot Racing leading the team's event by about 50 points over ME Racing, with Bad Day Racing in behind him. In the AMS is John Huyan leading the way on 118 points, with Ross Smith in behind on 111, 7 points back, with Jerry Chen on 108, George Angelidis on 105, Vinicius Concalves 101. SGS Club Italia leading the way on the team standings on 238, with Tic Tac Toe in behind them on 228. It looks like they're going to be a 2-horse race. In the under 2 litres is JT Tammy leading the way, with Ethan Funk in behind him, with Alan Smith behind that. The only 3 drivers over 100 points there. You can see below that Manny Wright, Ben Borman, Becky Ely Clark, Benjamin Latalik. In the team standings, Martini Racing, Lancia Beta, Monte Carlo are winning by quite a margin. I think they're going to be on for that team standings. The under 2 litre AMs, John Mayer tied with Christian Dalgo and Maddie Overton, just 2 points back from that one. We've got Adrian Rice and also Carl Struhel here this evening, so they're going to jump up the standings, I'm sure. Dark Thunder Racing leading the way on 114, with Broke Faster BMW in behind him on that one. That is the current housekeeping. Thank you so much for joining us here as well. It's going to be a very, very interesting one once more. Let's bring Ed into the booth. Ed, welcome in, bud. How are you?
Good, thanks. Yeah, it feels like we were here not a moment ago to do the modern version of VWSC, here at Road America. So yeah, now let's see our 1981 2 litres and under 2 litres get underway. It's going to be a very different race, I feel. Probably a lot more fuel saving and much less stable vehicles to manage as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what we're going to be looking forward to here is at the same time. We've got Mr. Ross Smith has joined us in the booth. Ross, welcome in.
Good to be here. How you gentlemen doing?
I'm doing peachy, mate. How are you?
Feeling good after that qualifying run.
Yeah, nice. How do you think today's going to go?
It's going to be all over the map. This is a big track. There's a lot going on, a lot in terms of strategy. You're going to have guys who are going to want to try and run as flat out as they can and just knock out the laps as fast as possible. And then you're going to have others that are going to look to try and manage their fuel economy and try and get a leg up on pace that way. And with the threat of rain potentially kind of floating around, not a huge threat, but enough, to keep watching the skies. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, what's going on? We normally have a chat about the mod, Ross. We haven't had a chat for a bit of time about it. What's going on with the 81 mod at this moment in time? What are we working on? What are we looking to improve? What do we think is coming out soon?
Right now, we feel like as far as the physics development, BOP and everything, the cars are in a really good spot. Everyone is complaining at equal levels. So that usually means that you've got things dialed into a good spot. So And we've seen that, different drivers, styles, tracks, they yield different winners and results and everything. We have really great battles on track, on strategy and everything. There's lots of convergence happening amongst those things depending on where we are. So we're pretty pleased as far as that goes. There's certainly a lot of graphical development to be done yet. There is some coordination with our partner group, which is Group 5 modding team that's given some of the cars to us to use. So we're looking kind of forward to the future with how we want to get some of that stuff taken care of and into the workshop with some split things, like a historic version versus what you might call a league version, although we'd have proper BOP instead of what you typically get in league stuff where it's just like all spec with different covering on it. But yeah, lots of things going on in the background there. The Storm Gang simulation team is very busy working on a few other things. We've got lots of track work. Today we actually had a change to the track surface because there was an issue discovered under the wet conditions that created basically no disparity between slicks and dries. Wets. So we wanted to make sure we got that taken care of. So lots and lots going on in the background that we're taking care of here outside of just the 81 and even the 26 modern mods. But we're working to get a few things wrapped up. Lots going on behind the scene that unfortunately people aren't able to see just yet, especially next year's historics and lots of next year's modern cars in the modern series, which anything that you've seen revealed so far, as in terms of Evos or new cars coming in, including like the Geely that's been announced taking over Alpine. We're going to look to try and get those into the 2027 mod as well.
Okay, mate. And let's have a chat about your championship, shall we? Sitting second at the moment, 7 points behind John Huyan.
Yeah. So it's pretty tight. With those drop rounds introducing, it kind of becomes a little bit, I don't know, difficult to try and figure out where, we're going to end up. He has another race he'll be missing at some point this season. He's already kind of said, so there's an opportunity there. We just need to keep the gap close, I think, between drivers and our teams, because I think we're the ones that are slugging it out with Jerry Chen's teammate Ryan missing today. That's going to hurt him a little bit there. Not to say that they're out. They're certainly still right in the contention for it, but yeah, it's all under consideration here. And I want to point to the guys all at the top of the field here, like that top 10. Keep an eye on this first lap because it's going to get spicy. I guarantee it.
You mentioned drop weeks, Ross. For people who are new here, tell us exactly what that means for you guys up in the while you're driving.
So normally we have drop rounds in a season. It's fairly common what you see in online racing, even normal racing. At least historically, they used to do it where they would take your worst result and chuck it. And in this case, we have 2, just because we have so many historic rounds this year. I don't remember what the historical precedent is for the drop rounds, but George said we're gonna drop 2 since we've got so many rounds going on. And that way, your 2 worst results will get thrown out automatically. So, he has to go through and work with our standing and timing software, make sure all that's taken care of. But just depending on how you finish later in the season, you might have a terrible result, and then suddenly, the points shift around because what was your worst result is now being counted because you've had an even worse one, and so the points kind of move around. And so early on, like the first half of the season, it makes things a little bit difficult to gauge where everyone actually is relative to each other. But now things are kind of settled and most of the worst rounds are behind most drivers. I think we can kind of gauge where we're at.
10th last time out, mate, at Spa. Do you see a higher finishing position for you this time?
I think so. I know my race personally, it was fairly plagued with some technical issues that I spent a lot of the week trying to resolve, and I think that I might have done so. So I'm hoping that stays the case. Our strategy today is going to be very different from what we saw in qualifying. So fingers crossed we don't get caught up in anything outside of our own doing, and we're able to kind of manage ourselves. But looking at Vinicius here, I'm kind of looking at him to be rear gunner and hold up and just take advantage of any mistakes from our competitors and just kind of stay out of the under 2s. And yeah, get a good result.
Okay, bud. Are we praying for no fires? Because I believe there was an incident in practice.
It was a bit by design. Fortunately, the M1, and maybe it's just the way that we've been driving it, has been just stalwart. You know, it's a very reliable car. We haven't had any issues with the engine failing on us for any reason outside of our own doing. So it's whoa, sorry, we're getting ready to check our pit boxes, so it's a little crowded here on pit road. But yeah, I think that's not going to necessarily be the case for others. I think that they're definitely going to have to keep an eye on things. It's not terribly hot out there today, so I can't imagine that we're going to lose too much just based off of overheating engines, although it can happen. It is getting a little bit warmer. If it rains, I think that's going to keep people a little bit safer since they're not going to be running near as high. But yeah, no one's exactly safe, but definitely our team in the M1s, or anyone running an M1 is probably in a good spot.
Yeah, we lost. What did we lose last time? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had 6 out last time, by what I can remember correctly. 4 of them were for engine troubles. Wout de Bruin, Jerry Chen, Axel Flammer, Robin Molin. You know, has that been a thing this season? Is this something that's going to keep going all the way through, or are we going to see a race where there isn't going to be any problems with that?
It's possible we'll see a race where that doesn't happen, but I mean, this era was plagued with engine and transmission issues. I mean, they basically, you know, ran without much restriction in terms of what they could do. So, I mean, they were pushing the limits on what the mechanics could make happen. So, very much so, we're kind of looking at the same thing. You know, there's all high performance vehicles out here just being pushed to the absolute limit. So, I don't know that we're ever going to have a race where somebody doesn't conk out from a mechanical issue, but not to say it can't happen, that we can get lucky and everyone kind of keeps it real. Like I said, if the weather comes in, you know, that might kind of damper the top end usage and keep people sort of limited on what they're trying to force through. So who knows? We'll see.
Okay, mate. Well, I'm going to look forward to this one as well and seeing how we got on. We've got the rest of a great calendar coming up at the same time. Silverstone next time out on the 12th of September.
Beautiful.
Boring.
Wow. Ed, what do you think about that?
Well, apparently I'm not getting paid to speak in this interview, so... No, I'm just kidding. I'll give an opinion. Right. Well, I haven't seen these specific 1981 cars around a 2-liter and under 2 liters around Silverstone, but I do like Silverstone as I say, especially the old version of Silverstone. I think that's a really, really awesome track. I feel like the modern version is still a lot of fun, especially Maggots, Beckett's Chapel and the run onto Hanger Straight, but it does feel a little kind of, I don't want to say sanitized, maybe might be the word, whereas the 80s version was very raw. I think of like Keke Rosberg's amazing pole lap in 1985 in the Williams Honda, I think it was, which was like the fastest lap in F1 history up to that point. So yeah, and also plenty of sports car shenanigans there as well. There's a big glare. Is that a glare, or is that just the exhaust pipe exploding as they downshift into the pit box there?
Oh yeah, it's especially the Mustangs. It's like a flashbang going off if you have one of those in front of you. Fortunately, there's no night racing today, so because if you're falling behind one of those going into a blind corner or something, it really does just overwhelm your vision.
More like playing a first-person shooter. People throwing grenades and flashbangs, as you say, at the tailpipe.
Exactly.
Well, we can only but hope Silverstone is interesting. I just don't like it. It's big.
Oh, James, they're all going to be good.
Flat. It's bleh. For me. I've been there in real life. It's absolutely massive. You need a blinking bus to get around there in time for the whole other thing on that one. But we're looking forward to seeing how it goes at Silverstone. So tell us then, Ross, we've got some interesting tracks, right? Silverstone, Nürburgring, Pagosa, Daytona, Mosport, Brands Hatch. If you could pin a favourite, what would it be?
I mean, I'm always partial to Brands Hatch. That's like the first track that I ever saw with BTCC, and you just fall in love with it. It's such a driver's track. They're all great, especially in these historic layouts and appearances and everything. I mean, the Silverstone with the bridge section and all that. That's peak stuff. So I mean, and with Nordschleife, we're going to be running that whole circuit. You know, the all out in the woods and everything. So I mean, it's going to be fun for its own reasons. It's going to be a different kind of challenge. So I'm looking forward to all of them. It's I guess if you had to say a favorite, it would be Brands Hatch, and I would not be surprised if a lot of the championships come down to that final race. All right, thanks, guys. Cheers, and I hope you have a good show.
Man, take care.
Bye.
All right. I'm going to wait for Ross to leave the booth as he's too high of a roll for me. I can't kick him out, unfortunately. There he goes, all on his own. You know, look, we have got these tracks coming up as well. You know, I'd say I'm not a lover of Silverstone. I don't think it's a good circuit. Maybe the 81 layout might be better, but you know, Nürburgring with the Nordschleife on top of it could be an interesting one coming into the end of the season.
Yeah, certainly. It's a bit of a car and driver killer, the Nordschleife, that infamously really sorts the... I guess the saying's usually the men from the boys, but I think it's a mixed gender championship, so it's more the adults from the children, perhaps, would be more appropriate. But yeah, it's a legendary track for good reason. It's kind of, especially the first time if you've never driven it before, it's kind of almost labyrinthine. You have to memorize. Oh, okay, which bit's coming up next? There's a Flugplatz, the bit you lift off the ground, and the sort of carousel as well, which is a banked sort of hairpin. So lots of really fun sections of that track, and it's a good 14 miles per lap as well. So you're not going to get a whole lap, a whole big amount of laps done. You usually get a handful in, and then you've done the whole 2 hours of racing essentially. But yeah, other tracks on the calendar, Brands we talked about a little bit. I think the only thing that was different in 81, I think Graham Hill Bend was a little reprofiled, so it was a little faster than it is today in the early 80s. But also, I think, was it Enno Pegusa, one of the tracks on there? Very old school circuit, of course. Another sort of almost labyrinthine one in Italy, used very briefly by Formula One, I think, in the late 50s, of course, for a couple of seasons. So, yeah, another one where it's very long, lots of little chicanes and twisty fiddly bits there. So that could be another one that's deceptively difficult, because there's a lot of straights that lead into those chicanes, whereas Nordschleife has got a huge variety and mix of challenges, whereas Enno Pegusa is almost essentially like a street circuit, but very long and and sort of dedicated for sports cars. Then, so yeah, I think a good variety of venues left on the calendars. Oh dear, somebody's completely dropped it into turn 5.
That was Mr. Maximilian. That was Mr. Maximilian Petravki.
Ah, a good friend.
Dropped it. Yeah, I believe Enno Pegusa was where we had trouble. Was it last season? I think Paul will be able to tell me, he's in YouTube chat as well, about somebody jumped back to pit lane and they ended up in the lead of the race, and they were supposed to do 4 laps. And
it's a short pit lane,
yeah, and it caused a lot of drama. I think it was Pegusa last year. Maybe I'm thinking of somewhere else, but I'm pretty sure it was on that one. As we go into the warm-up session, guys, as well, we will be going live, bringing up the grid once this warm-up session has finished, and then we will be up for this race kicking off, ready to go for 125 miles, Ed. I'm sure you've done the maths, haven't you? How many laps is that?
No idea. Probably about 90 minutes of racing or so.
Nice. I just thought I'd put you on the spot just to see there on that one. But yeah, no, I haven't done it myself.
I barely had time to. I've got halfway through dinner, and then you were like, "Oh, come on, you got to eat up." Well, I had to wait for you to finish your dinner while waiting for the broadcast and stuff.
Hey,
but yeah, anyway, I was tempted to go back down and nip it, but I guess I'll wait for an appropriate break at the end of the race. But anyway,
I was eating the wife's tacos are gorgeous. I can't not eat the tacos. So we got 4 miles.
I'm going to trust that's not a euphemism. Okay.
No, the tacos were absolutely gorgeous. She makes great tacos. It's like a speciality. Mine's lasagna. Hers is tacos and chili, and so yeah. So I definitely had to eat them. So we got 4
compliments
miles.
to Mrs. Parfit.
Exactly, 4 miles a lap. So what's that? 125 divided by 4. Right, as I pull out my calculator, 125 divided by 4, 31 laps.
Yeah, sounds about right.
It does, doesn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. I haven't done the math, but it sounds perfect. So there we go. But
I would have guessed 40 laps off the top of my head, but 31 sounds about right. But I'm happy to do 31.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You know, they're going to whiz around, aren't they? And this is the thing they're doing currently at the moment, 2:11s. So, you know, it's going to be roughly about right. The pain, I think, could be them 2 pit stops there, to be honest.
True, or the ones that try and do a super save fuel strategy for benefit, either so they can burn through fuel later in the race, or they can try and save time at the pit stops, essentially. That could see the lap times skyrocket as they lift and coast into the braking zones as well. But of course, they're not. It's not like these modern cars where they're regenerating energy, trying to preserve fuel, essentially. So it is. Of course, they've got much less downforce, much less grip as well. So. It is quite exciting to watch them just about hold on through the ragged edge of adhesion through some of these corners as well. It's such a contrast to the race we saw at Road America in the modern series a couple of weeks back then. So this is going to be a whole different world and a whole different ball game.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you, and I think it's going to be different. It's even going to be different compared to what we saw last time out at Spa. You know, I think there's going to be a massive difference between the way they drove the car at Spa to the way they drive them here, and I just think this could be a great race. I'm interested to see how the likes of Adrian Rice, Carl Struhl, Herbert van Gashoven, Nado Shiro all get on down in the AMs. That's going to make it interesting as well.
Yeah, exactly. The AMs, of course, with Ross, I believe, heading Jerry Chen in the 2 leaders, and then the under 2 leaders, we've got Rice and Struhal with their own little private battle in the Lancia Beta Monte Carlo and the BMW 320 Turbo. So we'll have to keep just a small eye out for those two if they're close together on track. But yeah, I suspect, as Ross alluded to, it's the front runners that we may have to keep an eye on. And that looks like Nicholas Kirsten in the 46. We just got our director's eye on. And there is a Daniel Kirby right alongside him. Kirby's had a lot of success this season. And yeah, let's see if he can replicate what he's done in the modern series here in Historics at Road America.
Yeah, we'll bring you up the grid, ladies and gentlemen, really quickly, because they do a standing start. Dan Kirby leading the way, Nick Lessons in second, but they have gone off on green. Dan Herlog and Axel Laflamme tucked in behind him here at the same time. We can bring you up roughly where everybody's likely to be. Eduardo Bonica, Johnny Gutierrez, Alexandro Smeraldi. It does look like actually they've got a pace lap, which I am shocked about on that one. And then in behind that is Wout de Bruyne, Magnus Dahlgren, Timon Suvic, and Gilles Lalonde, your top 12. Moving on from the 12th place at this moment in time, we will have Ross Smith, Jerry Chen, John Huyan, and George Angelidis. Championship title contenders all battling it out together there. It's going to be an interesting one to see how that one goes on. Then Alan Smith, then Ethan Funk, then Maximilian Petrovsky, and then, of course, rounding out the 20 with Adrian Rice. In behind Adrian Rice, we've got Nate Shiro, Carl Struhl, Vinicius Goncalves, and Hubert van Gashoven, the last on the grid on that one. Not quite sure why Ross has dropped all the way to the back. And to be blatantly honest with you, I am shocked, Ed, that they've even got a pace lap going on.
Yeah, this is unusual then. It could be that Ross was the one that had the issue then, and maybe that's what's caused this pace lap essentially. But yeah, it is gonna obviously it's unplanned, so create that little bit of tension then as the field essentially goes. But I assume they'll try and do another standing start, and Kirby will just lead them back to the starting grid then. Yeah,
I'm going to presume that. I'm trying to read through the briefing. Starting procedure: leader dictates the pace 18 to 120 kilometers. Stay approximately 1 car left behind the car in front. Keep distance consistent. No weaving, excessive braking. Start is when the overall leader crosses the start-finish line. So I'm going with that. We're going to go with a rolling start. Race starts at green flag. No passing prior. Cars should be holding steady before green. A car going full throttle or accelerating before the start-finish line may be subject to a jump start. No, Paul, they don't always do a pace lap, because at Spa, I'm pretty sure they were on the grid and they were off the grid before we even got going. So, yeah, no, there isn't always a pace lap. I'm quite surprised that that actually exists, if I'm mistaken for you there, Ed. But we've got a pace lap.
It could be for
and a
this
rolling
track
start.
specifically instead of Spa. So maybe because Road America does have a tendency for the starts to be quite chaotic. Although the first corner at Spa is La Source, so I'm not sure necessarily it bears out. But yeah, clearly CMS know what they're doing when they're putting the stewarding notes together. So yeah, I think either way it will be Kirby that and Kirsten that will lead the way then, and it'll be interesting to see whether the Porsche or the Ferrari it gets the jump once the green flag is shown then.
Yeah, absolutely. During practice, there's been many cars meeting walls. Expect some of that during the race, says Paul. I do agree with you. There has been quite a few going off, as I say, with a rather spectacular fire by Mr. Ross Smith, who did go and erupt in a ball of flames. But let's hope that we won't see as many cars going up in flames this time out. We lost, I think it was 5 or 6 in Spa last time out, of course. So hopefully we won't have many. But Dan Kirby is on the run around turn 14, the final corner of this race. And then we're going to be green, green, green. Once they cross the line here, it's going to be an interesting one. Can Kirby lead for lap 1? Can he not lead for lap 1? Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, get your drinks, grab your popcorn, sit back and relax, because this race is just about... Come on, sunshine. There you go. Green. Dan Kirby does lead us the way there. Nicholas Kirsten's in second. We've got Dan Herlock and Axel Laflamme tucked in almost 3 wide going into turn number 1. Nicholas Kirsten's in the middle here as well. Is he going to be able to make it through? Yes, he does. Kirsten's manages to hold on. Herlock there as well. Laflamme in there at the same time. Didn't have a good race at Spa. Went bang. But at the moment, Dan Kirby leading the way.
Yeah, there we go. You can see Laflamme trying to fight back as best he can. He's actually able through turn 2 there to go around the outside of Daniel Herlock then. So he keeps Herlock at bay in the number 87, so the 2 BMWs M1s doing battle then, and you can see in front Kirby has made the breakaways. You can see Daniel Herlock squiggling on the brakes, trying to look to the outside of Laflamme. He's got to be careful because Johnny Gutierrez in the Ford Mustang is not far behind at all. You might just see a peek of him in the rear view mirror there on the left hand side as he goes uphill under the bridge and continues on the rest of the lap. We ride on board with Gutierrez then, who is trying to keep the top 4 in sight at this early phase, but pretty clean amongst our front runners. In our 2-liter AMS, it's Angelidis. Ross Smith did get to cycle back to the front of the pack, but it's Angelidis that's got the jump on him and has taken the class lead there in 13th overall.
Yeah, we've got Alan Smith leading the under 2-liter pros, under 2-liter AMS is Rice. He's got Carl Stroll tucked in right behind him as well here. So great little fight's going to materialise, but this is going to be one. George Angelidis, Jerry Chen, Ross Smith, John Huyan, Maximilian Petravsky, all in that 2L AMS at the moment. You can see big old slide there as well for Oliver Day. He's been making, unfortunately, moves off the side of the track. Then behind that is Angelidis. He's going side by side at the moment with Gilles Lalonde. Gilles Lalonde managing to take the inside, does he just about? But currently at the moment, it's still Angelidis with Ross Smith tucked in right behind him. Where is Ross going to go here, Ed? He's just got to play follow my leader, surely.
Yeah, he's got to wait for an opportunity here because the last thing Ross wants is to trip over Gilles Lalonde and let Petravsky through then. So he's got to be careful here, having lost the lead at the start and having had his own issue on the sort of pace lap there as well. I think he got as caught out as you and I did, as we see Kirby pulling a 2-second gap and setting the fastest lap then as they start lap 3 then. So Laflamme now in second is holding back a train of cars, including Herlock and Kirsten then. So Nicholas Kirsten is fallen to 4th then early doors in this race. So not a great start for that Ferrari 512 as we now ride on board with Petravsky trying to keep the pressure on, and he's gotten through Ross Smith at turn 1 there. So now Ross, he's definitely it doesn't look like he was fighting that one too hard, so I think he's trying to wait for a better opportunity, and he might be about to see here. This is Petravsky who's just been repassed by Lalonde, has now got Angelidis to worry about. Then there's a bit of a kerfuffle going on up front there. I think that was Daniel Herlock falling to P6.
Yeah, Dan Hurlock dropping down the order, but Petrovsky clearing Angelidis. Now Petrovsky's going to go after Lalonde. Petrovsky in that Porsche, big old little bit of contact from Angelidis there at the same time, manages to get the place back. Petrovsky's going to try and tuck underneath him. Nope, does not do that, but that Porsche does look quick. It's been motored past Ross. It motored past that Ferrari as well until that little bit of an incident. Now in through the left-hander they go. Petrovsky managing to hang on here, and he's staying pace with that Ferrari. Through the carousel they go. Then it's going to be the fast right-hander of the King. Then down into Canada corner, and at the moment, Petrovsky kind of looks like he's got the bit between his teeth here.
Yeah, it was a weird one into turn 6. Looked a bit like Petrovsky, as you said, was going around the outside, and then just the rears broke traction. He turned in and almost made contact with George Angelidis there. So luckily, they survive. Was it Angelidis and Petrovsky that had a big fight in the modern series as well? If memory serves, one of them was involved in that anyway. But yeah, you see Ross just looking to the inside at Canada corner. I think more defending from John Oyen now, rather than fighting Petrovsky himself then, who's got his sights absolutely set on that Ferrari. As you say, the Porsche really nippy down the straights, but Petrovsky is having to drift it into the corners and live with that instability. As you see Angelidis cutting a bit of grass at the final corner there, and he's just going to turbo up the inside.
Oh my God. Petrovsky just went, see you later. Stop standing still.
It's like the VTEC kicked in, yeah.
I know. And who'd have thought a Porsche would have overtaken somebody on a straight? Who knew? You know what I mean? But he does. Maximilian Petrovsky take the lead in that 2-hour AMS at the same time. That is one quick Porsche. I am not going to lie on that one. Alan Smith is having his own little battle here as well. He's down in the under 2-litre pros. He's leading the way. He's got Ethan Funk tucked in right behind him at the same time. Kim's in YouTube chat. Welcoming Kim. Adrian Rice leading Carl Struhl by about 12.5 seconds on the U2L AM. So if Adrian Rice can keep it on track, he will be ahead there as well. But some great fighting going on already. But Dan Kirby out in front here, Ed, by 3.5 seconds.
Exactly. Just a word on Adrian Rice. He's got Hubert van Gashoven right behind him, obviously, in the under 2-litre pro class. So he's about 6 tenths behind, looking a little bit quicker at the moment. But crucially, he's got that 11-second gap to Carl Struhl that Adrian is building at the moment then. As we cut to Daniel Hurlock, who got sort of shuffled down to 6th. Now Smiraldi has been able to get the 512 Ferrari ahead of him as well. So Hurlock down to P7, so not good news for Hurlock. If I'm not mistaken, the small power driver is English, because I think we commented on Daniel before, haven't we?
Yeah,
and
definitely. We can have a look back. I think he went off track and caused himself some drama.
Yeah, he was running about 4th, I think, before this happened. There we go. Oh, just deep on the brakes while challenging for P2. And he's lucky he wasn't heading for the barriers there, James.
Yeah, into turn 5. Unfortunately for Dan Hurlock, manages to get the car back on track here. But unfortunately drops all the way down the order. So we'll keep an eye on Hurlock, see how he can recover here as well. Smiraldi.
Oh, he's pushing.
Smiraldi and Benica both in the same team, of course, pushing forward after Nicholas Kirstens. There is Benica there. Benica in that Scuderia Brigitte Bardot Ferrari, overtaking the Ferrari 512 of Kirstens down into the corner. Bit of contact, bit of squeezing. Smiraldi's Smiraldi was all out of shape there. I think he just went in way too hot. That's going to allow Dan Hurlock to come through. I don't expect that he could see what was going on with Benica and Kirstens there.
Yeah, you can really see the braking capabilities of these 1981 sports cars, that they are just, you hit the brakes, you go left, you go right, and it's a little bit like watching something you could see there, a classic example in Smiraldi of just about getting it stopped and not flying off outside the circuit boundaries then, as he's now going up the inside at turn 5 on Daniel Hurlock there, given just enough space. The rear hangs out, but Smiraldi has got the inside for turn 6 as Hurlock almost trying to go onto the grass there. He's running out of tarmac to use.
Am I seeing rain? I'm sure on my screen there is a little bit of a flutter of rain on the front side of the circuit.
0% showing on the timing screen, but we'll see.
Maybe that, or I've just got some bad lines going on at this moment in time, but I thought I just saw a little bit of a pitter-patter. Let's have a look on board with Dan Kirby. There's no window wipers going, So maybe I'm just imagining it at the same time here, but never mind. I do wear glasses for a reason on that one. Ethan Funk has now got past Alan Smith. Smith tucked in right behind Lancia Beta, Monte Carlo, and the BMW 320. Fighting it out there. He's got the BMW of Nate Shiro in behind him. I believe this is his first race of the season. I don't think he's been here before as Nate. There it is there. Look, am I seeing things here?
Yeah, I'm not. I've got to admit, I'm not seeing it. That's not me gaslighting you. I generally seeing clear skies, no little drops, and no windscreen wipers. So yeah, I think more evidence needed. Brain, but we are early on. It could still happen. You're right. You might be just having a premonition, James.
Maybe, or I'm just seeing screen tears going across my screen at the moment, which could be even more.
Quite possibly.
Yeah, which could be even more freaky, because if that does happen, guys, we're praying on that I stay in the session. But let's see what goes on here as we go round this circuit through the right-hander of turn 3 on the run down into 5. We'll keep an eye on it and see what goes on here as well. But whether or not there is anything, or whether or not my eyes do deceive me. But there's a nice little battle kicking off here with Dan Herlock and Alessandro Smeraldi. Nicholas Kirsten's just in front of him there in the Ferrari. So great little fights kicking off. What about the ever-looming Maximilian Petravki in what seems to be a very fast Porsche this afternoon?
Yeah, he's just set the fastest lap in class, 2 minutes 13.591. So about half a second quicker than Angelidis in the Ferrari behind him. As we see a little move, this is Lalonde clearing Oliver Day for 11th. That's near the back of the 2-litre pros then. And you can see just completing the move into turn 5 there. A little bit up the road, that's Walter de Bruyne fending off Timon Suvic in the Ferrari then. So the Zach Speed looking, that looks like the Mustang, yeah, that De Bruyne is piloting here. So the Dutchman having to put the defensive moves on to keep Suvic at bay as they enter the carousel. And Suvic again, you can see lots of just getting your foot planted on the throttle and plenty of counter steering. When we were on board with Kirby, he was really doing some beautifully controlled drifts, and Suvic getting a little close to comfort to the Retro Monsters logo on the back of the Mustang there.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how this is going to work out with tyres. I can't see them.
They're not going to have much left, are they, at the end of this stint?
I can't see them lasting long here, to be honest with you, Ed, because obviously if they're doing that, every single race up the inside goes Timon Suvic, or every single lap. Look at
it's not done.
That. It doesn't even look comfortable. They look like drifting more than racing.
I thought they were driving in the wet. Maybe they're seeing more drops on track than we are. But yeah, just sliding around all over the place and a real lack of grip. But De Bruyne, incredibly, as he downshifts, and there's almost like a supernova shooting out the tailpipe there. But yeah, that's defending the position there for P9. All the while, though, Magnus Dahlgren is about 2 seconds up the road in his Ferrari and started to pull away. Dahlgren in a bit of a race of his own because he's got another 2 seconds to Herlock, who continues to be very, very close to the back of Alessandro Smeraldi. So the BMW and the Ferrari pretty closely matched in that particular contest, as we see Petravki then continuing to try and fend off Angelidis. Who just went completely straight on there before rejoining behind. Oh, was that somebody else having issues?
No, I think that was Angelidis, and Ross was still in behind. Ross is with John Huyan at this moment in time. The only reason I wanted to see Petravki, because that Porsche looks so fast. There it is there. Can you not see it at the top of the screen?
Yeah, screen tearing, definitely. There's little bits of black. It's almost like it's trying to load in the skybox or something.
Yeah, I thought it was rain. But there we go. I'm hoping that settles down.
Looks more like an alien invasion.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird. Yeah, the way that Petravki was driving and the way that speed of that Porsche, I thought he was going to be a lot closer to Ollie Day than he actually is. Because that Porsche seems to have some meteoric amount of pace in it at this moment in time, I thought he might have been right onto the back of that Ford Mustang, but he's getting there, Ed, but he's not quite as quick as I thought he was going to be. Maybe this is where we enter into, I'm not saying that Angelidis, Smith, Uyan, Chen are all slow, but is this where it's different sorts of skill level? Should we say Petravki's, been out on track, he's practicing and stuff like that, but he's finding it harder to get to Ollie Day because Ollie Day is a bit quicker than the likes of Angelidis and Smith.
Yeah, well, I mean, Oliver Day last lap 2 minutes 14.7 wasn't great, but Lalonde in front is in the 2:13.2s then. So if Day's doing similar times to Petrafsky, and as long as that's enabling him to at least keep the gap the same or pull away from Angelidis, then there's no huge hurry up. If Day's lap times continue to be in the high 2:14s though, that could be worrying signs for Petrafsky, because that potentially could back him into Angelidis if he can't get through, which is exactly the sort of nightmare scenario. As you see in the background, Smith continued to keep John Oyen at bay. Jerry Chen, of course, in the same Porsche 935 as Petrafsky, but he's sort of stuck behind the Smith-Oyen battle. So if he's got that same straight line speed, he's not really been able to deploy it. I suspect different setup on the two Porsches here, as you see Petrafsky getting closer and closer to the back of Day, who just held onto a big tank slapper there through turn one. The other thing that's happened, by the way, speaking of Smith, the other Smith, Alan Smith, has taken the under 2 litre pro lead away from Ethan Funk, who now has got Nate Shiro, as you say, in one of his first appearances, challenging the Lancia as well. So Alan Smith, now that he's taken the lead, could be trying to sneak away now, while Funk is worrying about Shiro behind him. But look, as you say, Petrafsky, as he's not blinded by the lights on the back of the Mustang as it downshifts there, has now starting to contemplate making a move here for P12 overall in the race.
He's got to, hasn't he? He can't sit behind Ollie Day because of the fact that Angelidis is behind him on that one. So
3 seconds behind, but that gap could disappear in an instant, especially if he rides the curb like that.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got Alan Smith, Nate Shiro, and Ethan Funk. They're having their
Shiro
own little
through.
fight. Look at the battle there as well. Funk going up the inside of Shiro, trying to get through. Not at the moment.
Wide by Shiro.
Yeah, Paul's also seeing the screen tears as well. Paul's testing his new live timing stuff, and he's also seeing the tears at the same time here. I'm hoping this doesn't continue and something goes drastically wrong in this session, but I'm hoping it does settle down on that one. But Ethan Funk and Alan Smith, Smith taking the lead now with Funk in behind it. Nate Shiro still sitting in third. Nice little battles there as well. Timon Suvic, Wouter de Bruin, these guys still going at it hammer and tongue here, Ed.
Yeah, pretty evenly matched. Very entertaining to watch as well. Particularly Suvic just drifting the Ferrari almost through every corner here that he can get the opportunity to do so then. And De Bruyn, by contrast, still getting his tail happy on some of the exits of these corners, but just about managing to cover off there. So Timon Suvic will have to redouble his efforts, or potentially settle in for the long haul and maybe try and go for a strategy play to get past De Bruyn here, because if he's got pace that's superior to De Bruyn, he can't really utilize it right now. But he can certainly put on the show and let the rear absolutely hang out, as there's Lalonde going to a different postcode in the background as well.
Yeah, that's very, very, very stylish from Timon Suvic. I'm not quite sure how the tyres are going to hold up on that one, to be blatantly honest, but let's see how it goes here. And Timon Suvic, whether or not he can get close to Wouter de Bruyn, he's going to look up the inside at the moment. Nope, thought about it, didn't quite get close enough there as well. We've got Kirstens is closing down on Benica. He's opened up a bit of a gap to Dan Herlock. We've got also John Uyan, who's fighting it out with Ross Smith. Uyan there in behind Smith at the moment, so we'll see how Smith gets on in that BMW M1, Uyan in that Ferrari 512. And at the moment, these guys are losing pace to George Angelidis, who's losing pace to Maximilian Petrafsky, who's looking very, very stellar in that Porsche at this current moment here, Ed, as well. And some may say, how far can Petrafsky go? But at the moment, he's still not wanting to clear Ollie Day, and is about, well, he's now, is he near enough alongside him at one point there, but he's still not quite clearing him, which I think could be a mistake.
Well, I mean, it's not like he isn't pushing, though, because look at the gap to Angelidis. He's now 4.3 seconds, so he's pulled a bit more out on him, about 3 or 4 tenths per lap on average, I think, is Petrafsky. But you can tell, yeah, I agree, he's starting to be held up a little bit by Oliver Day, who's still lapping in the high 2-minute 14s here. Especially compared to Lalonde, who's cleared off his second personal best laps of the race, 2-minute 12.8 that last lap around. So, yes, Petrafsky Definitely doesn't want to make a silly move, risky move here, because they are fighting for overall position in the race. But in terms of class, yeah, he's in a good position now. And even if he cannot actually pass Oliver Day, if he can force Day to up his pace a bit, and here we go. He's got a good opportunity here. He's catching him down the straight, but he's lifting off it. You can tell, not going for the move, perhaps saving a bit of fuel for later on here, which you can kind of do in the slipstream. Yellow flag in the middle sector, so somebody has fallen afoul of something. Not sure who that is.
Carl Struhl.
Oh, Struhl, okay. Who was starting to catch Gashoven before that point, so that's a big setback. Whoa! And Petrovski's off! What on earth has happened there? Huge hit with the wall, and has he kept his wheels? I don't think so.
Oh, man, and that, I'm not one to say I told you so, but Sunshine, you should have overtaken him sooner. Comes in, different braking zones there, just gets it all wrong, Petrovski.
Oh, that was evasive maneuvers, you're right, James.
Yep. And bang, straight into the wall. Wow, that's a kick in the teeth for Maximilian Petrovski there.
Yeah, certainly. I think I agree, Jay. He was trying to be too clever, wasn't he? He was playing the long game, getting really close while he, despite having the straight line speed advantage at top speed at least, and he was saving a bit of fuel, and then all of a sudden just got a little bit too close to come. Didn't expect Day to break that early, and then had to go to the outside into the gravel, and from there he was basically a passenger then. So had he needed to commit to either, as you say, passing him down the straight earlier when there was the opportunity, or backing off, and you can see there he's just stranded in the gravel, potentially huge amount of damage. I don't expect we'll see Petrovski back in the race from here.
Now, I'm okay, so I'm just going to speak how I think, which generally gets me in trouble. Would we look at that and go, self-inflicted, you could have got him going into the corner?
But well, I think Petrovski might say that Day essentially caught him out by, I don't want to say brake testing, but he caught him out by braking earlier than expected, yeah. But I sort of agree, Petrovski needed to avoid that situation in a way that didn't take him out of the race, essentially. I would lean towards, given that he had a 3-4 second gap to Angelidis, playing it a bit safer and maybe not getting as close as he did on the exit of turn 1, essentially. But yeah, I think that you can equally see it from your point of view. He had the opportunity to pass. Why not just pass him and leave him behind, essentially?
Yeah, that Porsche had pace for days. Daniel Hurlock chasing down Nicholas Kirsten's here. Petrovski's causing the yellow flags, ladies and gentlemen. He's still sat in that corner. Oh, he's back to pit lane now for him. But there is Nicholas Kirsten. You saw Dan Hurlock having a big old slide going into turn 5 there. Stayed in behind that Ferrari 512 in that BMW, of course. But oh, big old slide in the background there as well for Alexandro Smeraldi. Lots of people, I can't see how they're going to continue this. If they continue this with the way that they're wearing the tyres, right? Surely them tyres are going to need changing every stop, is it?
You might think so. I suppose they're all on essentially soft tyres, aren't they? Well, it's the same as the dry tyres, isn't it? So
yeah, it's just like road tyres practically.
Exactly, yeah. Well, I mean, they are going to slide road tyres being driven like this, but at this sort of speed for this kind of period of time. But yeah, I think it's a case of either there are a lot of drivers that are going to change tyres quite early on in the race at the first stop. We are about a third of the way through, aren't we? Or, as we see, oh my goodness, Smeraldi is arriving sideways into Canada corner there. So he was out of control very early on and attempted to save that one, but he's lost a whole bunch of time. Look how close Magnus Dahlgren's gone to him now.
Yeah, he just can't.
Oh!
Smeraldi again is pushing the absolute rear end.
He's baking those tyres to death, the way he's driving them.
Look at the way he's doing that. That is just absolutely bonkers. Dahlgren coming in right behind him now as well. Dahlgren's got to surely, I wouldn't want to stay behind him, but the way that he's going at this moment in time, Dahlgren's going to get alongside here into turn number 1. Is he going to get the job done? Is Smeraldi going to give him room?
Locking up.
Again. Oh. I don't know how long Smeraldi's going to keep this up for.
Yeah, all that early pace where he's fighting with Dan Herlock, he's clearly trying to keep that pace up, and the tyres have stopped cooperating, haven't they? So Smeraldi's fighting that car rather than working with it, and Dahlgren doesn't have to do anything too spectacular here. He just needs to wait for the right opportunity and catch Smeraldi out under the brakes here. Through Moraine's sweep they come, and you can see lock up and sideways into turn 5 there, but Smeraldi somehow gets it slowed down, but the tyres, they cannot take much more abuse. Surely Smeraldi is either got to calm it down, or he's got to come in for a fresh set of tyres soon.
Yeah, I think it's going to be stopped soon as well. I think there's going to be a couple of people that we might see coming in at the same time. Benica, Kirstens, might be Smeraldi and Dahlgren. I'll be interested to see if Dahlgren can go a little bit longer. We did lose Maximilian Petrovsky. He did DNF. And that has got to be a kick in the teeth for Maximilian Petrovsky due to the fact of how well he was actually doing. I think that's massive. I think that really is a massive moment for Petrovsky there, especially with how well he was doing it. He could have been on for a win, and unfortunately just went and made a mistake on that one.
Yeah, managing the other classes, though, is absolutely part of the game. So, yeah, I think Petrovsky may be angry at Oliver Day, maybe a little bit. But, yeah, I sort of think from Day's point of view, he had to worry about his own race. And I think, as we see again, now Dahlgren getting sideways into Canada corner. He's the one pushing. The other thing that's happened here is Beninka has picked off Johnny Gutierrez for 3rd overall. So our lead Ferrari 512 is pulled about a gap of a second. It's now Gutierrez that's got to deal with Kirsten and Herlock all over the back of him then. So it looks like the Mustang is now starting to fade at the end of this stint.
Yeah, there is Eduardo Benica there. You can see him currently on your screen. Nicholas Kirstens tucked in behind Johnny Gutierrez. Kirstens, of course, in that Ferrari. And then we've got Nick Gutierrez in that Ford Mustang. Is the Mustang doing what Mustang does best? Whether or not he is he baking his tires in a car that's normally a boat?
Quite possibly, yeah. But yeah, Gutierrez, you saw qualified sort of about 4th or 5th, didn't he? Gained a couple of places when Kirsten and Herlock both hit issues. And speaking of which, Kirsten again really heavy on the brakes and sideways into turn 5. Just about gets his stop before hitting the back of that Mustang there. He's trying to nip up the inside into 6 as they go under the bridge. But you can feel here Dan Herlock waiting for the fireworks to kick off so he can get involved. Another poor exit for Gutierrez. Round the outside goes Kirsten. Contact made. And it truly did kick off there. Gutierrez is sideways, just about avoids the tire wall there. But he's going to feel aggrieved there. He didn't have a great exit, but that was a risky round the outside move from Nicholas Kirsten.
Yeah, we'll have a look back at the moment here as well. I'm going to bring Maximilian Petrovsky into the booth, who DNF'd there after doing so well. But we'll find out what happened. Max, what happened, bud?
Well, I was following Oliver Day. I was fuel saving quite a bit, which is why I was staying behind him. And then going into turn 2, unfortunately my brake pedal decided to stop receiving any input. So I just careened on, thankfully missed Oliver, and went into the wall, and that's game over.
Yes, dude, and you hit it pretty fast.
Yep, engine went kaboom, and yeah, that's how the race ends for someone.
So, let me just ask you a question. If you hadn't lost the brake pedal, when were you going to clear Ollie Day? Because George was catching up with you, not at a rapid rate, but he was catching up with you enough that you might have had to pass Ollie Day at some point.
Well, I think if I had seen him in my rearview mirror again, then I probably would have gone for the overtake on Oliver. But other than that, my main objective really was to fuel save so I can make it a one-stop, which until until the brake pedal failed, I was actually pretty nicely on the way to do. I was going to pit around lap 17.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The Porsche did look mighty here today.
Yeah, I did a setup change between the qualifying and the race. In the qualifying, I was running with the higher wing settings, which was a mistake. And for the race, I decided I'd do something very risky and only run the higher front downforce setting, which meant that the car was very oversteery, but also very nicely entered corners instead of understeering like it usually does.
Yeah, it did look very quick, and it had some pace down the straights as well there, Max. I was quite surprised at how quick that Porsche actually was, to be fair.
Well, I was running also pretty risky gearing. The top end for the fourth gear was going to be 301 kilometers per hour, which I think without slipstream, I got at the end of the front straight to 292. So with slipstream, I would have had to lift off to avoid hitting the limiter.
Yeah, well, unfortunately there, Max, as well. You know, sorry for your issues there, bud, but you were absolutely flying. Looked on for the win in that class at the same time there, mate, as well. Well, let's see how you get on next time out at Silverstone.
Yep, thank you very much. Hopefully it will go better.
Yeah, hopefully do. Take care, buddy.
Have a good one.
Brake pedal, Ed. Brake pedal.
Yeah, well, that changes things, doesn't it? So,
Yeah,
even if he'd overtaken, he would have had the brake pedal to not respond on him, which are difficult to slow down at that speed when you don't realise until you hit the brakes you don't have any. But, while that's been going on, Herlock and Kirsten have been battling, and we're now seeing LaFlamme going into the pits, followed by Beninka. So our leaders in the 2-litre pro class are deciding to get their first stops out of the way then. So that promotes Kirsten and Herlock to second and third then. And you can see here Dan Herlock really putting the pressure on. The sky starting to darken as well. Could there be a bit of overcast and potentially some rainy weather coming later in this race, James? That would really mix things up.
Yeah, there's Benica in the pit lane. We've also got Dahlgren in pit lane as well. Axel LaFlamme. Ross Smith has just lost that place to John Uyan. Smith was in the lead of that class. So, unfortunately for him, he's going to have to sit
Angelita's
in.
down to third as well. Not sure what's happened to him.
Well, I'm trying to find through here of something that may have happened to Angelitas, and I can't actually see. There he is. There's an off track there.
There's 3 leader changes in 2-litre AM. So here we go. This is Angelita's going wide at turn 1. The flames coming out as he downshifts rapidly. And there might not be the only mistake that he's made here.
Yeah, there's another one there. What did he do here going into the final corner? Ross is still in. There we go.
Went straight on.
Yeah. Completely missed it there. And unfortunately for George, he's dropped down the order. Dan Kirby has looking like he's going to be going into the pits this time around as well. Thank you for the information, Paul, in YouTube chat there. Kirby has requested a pit stop, so we'll see what happens. Dan Herlock still tucked in behind Nicholas Kirstens at this moment in time. And it's a very, very big moment for these guys in this pit stop's head. Are we going to see tyres or are we not?
Well, depends then. Let's see. LaFlamme, Beninka, and Dahlgren all still being serviced. I think Beninka is just being released now. So longer stop, I would suggest they are putting new tyres on.
Yeah, I would say so there at the same time. But you see Dan Kirby in pit lane. There he goes. There on the front end, just about see him. There he is. For Dan Kirby in the pit lane, of course, as well. But where is Kirstens? Going to come past him over the line. Him and Dan Herlock not going into pit lane. They're going to take 1 and 2 at the moment. Great job from them. What about Smeraldi? He doesn't look like he's going in either. Axel LaFlamme is going to come out behind them all the way down in 21st place. 1 lap down, Ed. That just goes to show how long the pit stops are here.
Indeed, yeah. So it can really put you out of sequence if you pit early then. But yeah, you see, as well as Kirby, we've got Gutierrez, Suvic, and Lalonde all being serviced. Now, I wonder if Daniel Herlock is deciding to follow suit on Nicholas Kirsten's strategy and maybe save a bit of field behind him, because he's not getting as close to making moves down the start-finish straight or into Moraine Sweep either then. So I suspect that Smile Power have decided to lock into the overcut strategy, maybe pit a bit later for fresh set of tyres and fuel, and see if they can take advantage of that in the second stint, despite maybe giving the chance for a couple of the others to undercut them on track position at the start of this next stint.
Yeah, they've only got to go 1 more lap and they've got it down to 1 stop. The difference is how long can they hang on for fuel saving and how many laps have they managed to save, because obviously Dan Kirby's come back. He's still in pit lane at the moment. Gutierrez still there. Suvic's still there. Lalonde's still there as well. George Angelidis still in pit lane. If they can go 2, surely the next stint's going to be a little bit easier for them, isn't it?
It gives them a lot of options, that's for sure then. But yeah, obviously it's not just being able to make the fuel and the tyres last, it's also pitting into a clean bit of track as well. You really don't want to get held up by some traffic in a different class or people who pit earlier as well. As we see, actually, Beninka, I think, is going to come out ahead of Daniel Kirby here. So maybe Beninka didn't change tyres.
Maybe, and he is out on the road. Dan Kirby still in pit lane. Gutierrez still there. Dahlgren's still there. There goes Kirby now. Just about getting moved out, and he's all the way down in 15th place.
Dahlgren's got him as well.
Oh, there's a fire.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. Who is that on fire?
One of the BMWs, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's Shiro.
Nato Shiro on fire in pit lane. Where's the fire brigade and the marshals?
Well, stakes for Nate, I think.
He's probably got his marshmallows out there as well. Poor old Nate in pit lane. It doesn't look as quite dramatic in the car as it does off-site, does it? You know what I mean?
No, you got the sort of the blinkers. Oh no, because it's already burnt out. That's why.
There you go. So Nate Shiro is another one to DNF here. George Angelidis all the way down in 20th now. We've got the likes of Ollie Day carried on here. He's still going. Kirsten's in pit lane.
Van Gashoven's been disqualified from the race somehow. I didn't spot how that happened.
Let's see if this gives us any idea. Reversing
in the pit lane. Yep. Oh, he missed his box then. That's dangerous, especially with people coming in behind him.
Dude, we saw it last time as well. Not good for Gashoven there. The DQ for him. So, yep, see how this man gets on. Can he really go any longer? Can John Uyan go any longer? Uyan has got Ross Smith in behind him.
Yeah, you can tell, of course, Angelidis decided to go for the undercut strategy by pitting early of the 2-litre AMs. So, yeah, Oyen and Smith. I think Smith, we talked to Ross earlier, Ross had a pretty clear strategy of what he wanted to do. And I think John has decided to sort of, if I can stay ahead of Ross on that same strategy, I'll be in a pretty good position. Oliver Day as well is designed to stretch the field because given that he was at the back of the 2-litre pros, he didn't really have any other options then. As we see Kirsten and Herlock now, they've also been overtaken by Beninka. And I suspect we're about to see the others come through as well. There goes Dahlgren, and I think it'll be interesting to see where Kirby filters out relative to those who pit later. He's already got by Kirsten there, so Kirby is in a sort of net P3 at the moment with Timon Suvic behind him.
Yeah, Dahlgren's in front, but Ika's in front of him as well. Then we've got Smith, then we've got Uyan, then we've got Ollie Day. They're all looking at coming in. Kirsten's, Herlock's, Moraldi. This is such an insanely long pit stop, guys. I'm not going to lie. On that one, it's absolutely bonkers, isn't it, Ed? How long it takes to get fuel in these cars and tyres.
It's a good thing they're not all pitting on the same lap, because we wouldn't have a whole lot to watch otherwise, apart from people reversing down the pit lane, exploding in the pit lane. But yeah, Day will get his one and only stop of the race, you would assume, now done on lap 18. He can see he's very busy as he comes in. Can he find his place? It's just in that little... Oh, dear! And he pulls across into... Oh, I wasn't sure who that was. Was it De Bruyn in the Mustang? I think it was.
Yeah, De Bruyn, wasn't it? Because I think he come in.
Yeah, De Bruyn's just leaving now. Yeah.
Moraldi. So I think De Bruyn was leaving as Ollie Day was coming in, and unfortunately they made contact on the way in. Smith's in, Uyan's in, so this should give Eduardo Benica the overall lead, I think.
Yeah, but he'll have the least fuel, of course. Him and Dahlgren in a similar place strategically. Dahlgren is still being caught, by the way. By Daniel Kirby, although Kirby, having said that, was 6 tenths slower in the first sector on this lap that they've just started. So yeah, Kirby's about 3.5 seconds behind Magnus Dahlgren and might be able to make the move on track, but then it's 17 seconds to Beninka. So Beninka's gotten a huge undercut. That to me tells me that Ferrari 512 is coming in again before the end of this race.
Yeah, I think that, to be honest with you, I think there's going to be a few people that could be coming in again here at the same time, because it was really weird. It was lap 31, 32, 33 Not lap 33, sorry, 15, 16, 17 and 18 that covered the majority of the pit stops, right? And that's the thing, isn't it? Pit stops times are just absolutely bonkers. They're like 151 seconds, 171 seconds in the lane as well. You know, that's a long old time for some of these guys. That's, what's that, nearly 3 minutes at some points for some of these drivers in pit lane. It's just absolutely nuts how long it actually takes here. But it's going to be interesting to see where and who has got to pit again, as we've lost Carl Struhl DNFing.
Oh dear. Well, it's only 2 under 2 litre AMs, or 1 under 2 litre AM with Rachel and Rice. So yeah, he's had an issue during the stop itself then.
Yeah, it looks like he may have had some problems there and just couldn't get the car into pit lane. But Benica is now out in front with Dahlgren in second. Kirby's in third. He's 2.2 beyond Dahlgren's, in 19.6 behind Benica. Ross
Kirby 2 seconds faster than Dahlgren that last lap, James.
Yeah, I don't expect it to last long, but I am interested to see how they get on now. Is Uyan...
Oh, side by side with Smith. So Smith had a very short stop here, Ross.
Yeah,
and there's Oliver Day coming out just behind him.
Yeah, so, God, I'm going to give this a minute to settle down here, Ed, because people are all over the place. So that means Uyan is now leading the 2L AMs. Smith's tucked in behind him. Jerry Chen somehow 16 back. Angelidis another 2 back, so that's 18 back. So that's a long old gap for some of these. You can see the gap to the leaders on the left-hand side there. It is 18.5 seconds for Angelidis over Smith here, who's trying as best he can to clear John Uyan. Ollie Day in behind him as well in that Mustang. He's going to want to try and clear him as quickly as possible here and at the same time.
Yeah, oh, that looked like Ross. With that move, you saw John Uyn blocking the inside through Moraine sweep as early as possible. Ross couldn't find a way around the outside, and he backed off to let Oliver Day through. So that's sensible, because if he thinks Day's a bit quicker here, you can use Day to sort of get Uyn out of the way, and then he's got a clear shot on him, essentially. So it makes sense if he thinks Oliver Day's raw pace is quicker than the both of them. Day did have a longer stop, as Ross is really pushing it on that entrance to the carousel there. Just about rejoins the track in time. Go Oliver Day, says Kim D9973 in the chat then. So, yeah, Oliver certainly being cheered on. We think Oliver will not have to pit again before the end of the race, although Beninka and Dahlgren certainly will. So it'll be interesting. I think Dahlgren could end up very close to Oliver Day when he comes out the pits here, but I think Beninka is going to be somewhere in the middle of the pack.
Where, though, do we think the likes of Kirby, and who did 17 laps, Dahlgren 17 laps, Benica 17 laps, Suvic, Axel Laflamme, Gilles Lalonde, Nick Kirstens, you know, are they going to be able to get to the end if they don't fuel save here as well? This is all up in arms at the moment here with how people are going to work this and whether or not they're going to be able to get to the end of the race without that stop, or if they all manage to save enough fuel that they can get to the end.
Well, the other thing we haven't considered yet, James, is that we did see the skies darken midway through this race. Some of them might be banking on it raining later on. And everybody having to come in for essentially wet tyres. So yeah, it could be that that's part of the strategies. Kirby now is right behind Dahlgren, fighting for P2. It was such a long stop for Kirby. I wouldn't be surprised if he's actually got the fuel to get to the end here. But his pace is such that he's lapping 8/10 quicker than Beninka. Oh dear! And somebody has spun off. It's De Bruyne, you're right, who's gone off at Canada Corner, who's not on the same lap as the leaders there.
Yeah, I think poor old De Bruyne is facing round the wrong way. Or was that Ethan Funk? It might have been Ethan Funk.
Oh, it is Ethan, sorry, yeah, in the Lancia.
Oh, he stops there. But I'm sure that did not look like Ethan Funk's machine. I'm not going to lie. It may well have been. There he goes.
It was.
Get it over going again there. Now, what is going on here? Ross is now back behind Uyan.
And Day's got through on John Uyan. So now, as I said, Ross is gearing up, but also is Daniel Kirby all over the back of Dahlgren into turn 2. But he's got somebody sliding around behind them.
Yeah, that is Dan Kirby. slide in there. He's got Magnus. What's the power of this Porsche? On board the chopper here. Look at that. See you later. Bye. Take care. Adios. Go on, son. Free you go.
Dahlgren's not on the same strategy, but he might try and fight it. Or backs out of that one fairly early on then. So Dan Kirby has got that second position. 17.9 to 18 seconds now to Eduardo Beninca. Beninca's got to hope. Well, the problem is he's been caught several seconds a lap. Beninca, is he going to try and fuel save to get to the end, which does seem unlikely given he was one of the first to pit? Or is he going to try and build a big enough gap that he can pit into and then maybe come out in the middle of the pack and challenge for the podium late in the race?
Yeah, Beninca picking up some of the grass there. Through Canada corner he goes, runs some of the grass on the exit. Alan Smith also had a spin as Ethan got past, but they've swapped backwards again here. Alan Smith and Ethan Funk. Smith is now in back ahead of him. These guys carrying on this fight. There is George Angelidis, there is Alan Smith, there is Ethan Funk. After we saw his drama, he's got Axel Laflamme tucked in behind him at the moment there. Laflamme, of course, sitting in 5th place. He's looking to motor his way forward after his stop. Dahlgren's now in behind Kirby, but losing time. We've got Gilles Lalonde 8 seconds back from Laflamme. Dan Herlock has got Nicholas Kirstens in front. These two seem very together like Velcro.
Yeah, really, ever since the start, when they both lost a couple of places each with a couple of mistakes, they've been trying to work together to get through the pack, essentially, in a kind of, I don't want to say non-aggression pact, because, oh, somebody's going backwards down the track. That's the 68. Who is that?
Adrian Royce.
Oh, dear, that's our leader, in the sole remaining under 2-litre AM.
How is he going back the other way? That's interesting.
He's got all 4 wheels on the grass, bang, into the wall. Big over 360-degree spin, and somebody else almost does the same thing behind him.
Yeah, he's going to sit there. He's going to come back the other way. Oh, my God. Oh, Jesus. Now get it back.
I think Adrian was just trying to get out of the line of fire there. That's why he went slamming into the wall, backwards into the wall again. This is a bit Austin Powers.
Oh. Jesus.
Not the most elegant recovery from Adrian there. But he may as well go... No, inelegant. Yes, that's what I say, not the most elegant. So.
No, definitely was not there. Not good. Benika's still out in front at the moment. Kirby's still in there. Then he's got 2 seconds now to Dahlgren, so he's opened up a bit of a gap there. Smith and Uyan are now just about a second apart at this moment in time. They're leading in the 2Ls. Funk and Smith, DNF for Shiro, Gashover DQ'd. Rice is the only one, as long as Rice stays on the racetrack, then he should technically win the class, right?
Well, you would think so, yeah. He's kind of racing against himself more than anybody else with Struhel out of the picture now. So Adrian may as well just get to the pits for repairs and then basically take it easy for the rest of this. It amazed me that he was pushing as hard as he was, given that he's got nobody else in class that he was fighting against. But, yeah. The other thing that's interesting in terms of strategically, of course, Angelidis is one of the first of the 2-litre AMs in, but him and Jerry Chen are now about 17 seconds behind the Ian Ross Smith fight. So I wonder if that's because Ian and Smith are both risking it by on the fuel and not changing tyres, or if Angelidis maybe and Chen both had issues pitting as early as they did, maybe into traffic, essentially.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a mix-up, I think, for a minute. I don't really feel, Ed, until we're sort of late lap 20s, 28, 29, to actually know how this is going to work out, isn't it? Because surely 16:32, 17:34, the people who were lap 15, 16, 17 should be able to get to the end, shouldn't they? Because they lose the lap anyway, and then they get it back when the others come into the pits. But then, can they get to the end? I'm so up in arms. I don't know how this is going to go on.
Yeah, the lap times have started to slow. You can see Beninca set at 2:13.5. Kirby's in the 2-minute 12.1, but his lap before was also in the 2-minute 13, so his charge, it seems to be not like every lap that he's pushing, it's just every other lap, as Dahlgren in the 2 minutes 13.3s. Laflamme as well, 2 minutes 13.3s as well for him. Suvic, 2 minute 15.3s. He might have had some issue on that lap. He's right behind Axel Laflamme. I think has just been overtaken by him. But Suvic is another one that sort of gained artificially, because remember, he was fighting a bit further back against De Bruyn, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? This is why I sort of reference the pit stops, because it is so difficult to try and work out who is going to be where, who lost a lap due to being in pit lane, who managed to get the lap back at this moment in time, and whether or not people are going to get to the end. Now, we think Herlock and Kirsten should, because of the way that they went, what was it, 1 or 2 laps longer than some of the people who went into the pits early. So
Yeah, them and Day stayed out the longest.
yeah, so technically, but Ollie Day is right the way down in 12th. These guys are 7th and 8th. Yeah, this is just... It really is quite confusing to work out how this is going to pan out here.
Yeah, because you'd think Kirsten and Herlock would be fighting for the podium right now, but we don't. Oh, Beninka is in. There we go, with 10 laps to go. So, yeah, this is the people who splashed and dashed earlier, now having to do it again. So this should allow Kirby to retake the lead. But where does Eduardo re-emerge in the order then? Got to think it's in that gap between Suvic and Kirsten, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Or if he's going to try and get him behind Dahlgren before Laflamme might be
Dahlgren's in a similar situation as well. He may have to come in before too long.
Yeah, Laflamme... It might be Kirsten's Herlock. They're on the way around 13. Dan Kirby out in front, but he can still stationary at this moment in time. You've only got 9 laps of fuel you're going to need, Sunshine. So
Unless he's having to change tyres at this point because he didn't do it earlier on.
all the cars going past him. Suvic got past him. Now, where is Kirsten's? There he is, Kirsten's Herlock. They're looking like they're going to go past him as well.
Yeah, Lalonde might get him as well.
Well, I think Lalonde's definitely going to get him. I don't even think he's still stationary at the moment. Gutierrez as well.
Yeah, this was a bit of a roll of the dice from Beninka. I think he was gambling on it raining, to be honest.
Yeah, this hasn't worked out too well for Eduardo Beninka, unless he is hoping everybody else goes into pit lane. But I think De Bruyn's going to get him. Smeraldi's going to get him.
Maybe even Day will get him.
Well, we laughed, but it's highly possible he could come out behind Huyan and Smith and Angeligis, because they're not bad too far back.
It's lost so much ground. Meanwhile, stuff is going on. I think Daniel Herlock's gotten fed up of being stuck behind Kirsten, because he was briefly trying to make a move there before having to back out. As there, finally, out of the pits comes Beninka, and he's going to be behind John. He's going to be in the middle of this battle. Ross Smith going around the outside of him. So there we go. Beninka with a bit of a, I don't want to say traffic, but a whole other class that he's got to clear, both Smith and Oyen, before he can even think about challenging the leaders in the top 11.
Yeah, Herlock and Kirsten's are back the way they were. Kirsten's back in front of Herlock again. Smeraldi's up behind Wouter de Bruyn, but has been for quite a while, as far as I can remember.
Oh, still struggling to get it turned in as well.
Yeah, Ross is still behind Huyan, but he's got Beninka for company. So now again, Ross is in that situation. Does he let him go knowing it's going to happen to John Huyan as well, and try and use Beninka to get forward, hoping that Beninka don't kind of get it all wrong, I suppose.
I suppose so, but the Beninka should have fresher tyres then, so you'd think this shouldn't be too big an ask for him to clear John Oyen fairly quickly. Dahlgren is in as well, so Beninka's got incentive then to get a hurry on, because otherwise he's going to be essentially overcut by Magnus Dahlgren then. So Laflamme now, because retired last time out, as you say, of engine trouble, he's now up to P2, and Timon Suvic, incredibly, is in P3, but I expect Suvic might be the next one in, given his strategy then. So we should see Kirsten or Herlock promoted into P3 before too long.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's say there, Seymour for YouTube chat, but he must have changed tyres on all 4 corners, otherwise there is no way he fell so far back in that pit stop. Well, that's what we were thinking, but Dahlgren's in the pits in exactly the same point here, and he's going to lose time. The only saving grace for Dahlgren is whether or not he can. I don't even think he's going to get out before Beninka. I think all of these next lot are all going to go through him here as well. If you have a look on the left-hand side on the way the mixed strategy is at this current time, Dahlgren in the pit sitting in 10th, but by the time he comes out, he definitely ain't going to be there. So I don't know what they were trying, but whatever they tried didn't work as such.
Yeah, I think they were, again, it was the rain, because they didn't change tyres at the first stop purely because they wanted that track position advantage. Beninka goes really wide and has to rejoin right in front of John Oyen there. A disaster just mercifully averted, but Oyen probably saw his life flash before his eyes for a few seconds there.
Yeah, I would have sat and seen my life flash between my eyes. So Magnan comes out in front of Angelidis down in 14th place. Wow. That is absolutely nuts how some people have just dropped all the way down. Benika's behind Ollie Day at the moment in time. I don't think he's going to be able to get there currently at the moment. Herlock is still in behind Kirsten and has been for ages, isn't he, Ed? I think near the beginning of the race these two were following each other.
Yeah, the thing of these two fighting is that Suvik is actually lapping about a second lap quicker than both of them at the moment, albeit he might have a much emptier fuel tank at this point of the race then. So Suvik is growing on fumes, but he knows the later he pits, the less time I have to spend waiting around in the pit lane then. So it's ambitious. Suvik, though, might still have a chance of maybe getting in front of Dahlgren sort of in the Uyen-Smith battle. But yeah, Beninka, luckily for him, has cleared it and is now about 4 seconds behind Oliver Day and has got to hurry up. As here comes Herlock then up the inside into turn number 1. Can he get the move done on Nicholas Kirsten? Side by side, it's Herlock that's got the inside. It's ahead at the apex. A little bit of contact as they run side by side. And Kirsten just about survives that one and he's able to pull back ahead. He's got the better acceleration out the first corner. There's Herlock. Has to get the 87 back under control then and get ready for Marine Sweep.
Now, unless he can make this, surely, right? Unless he can make this pass clean as a whistle and get through and pull away, I'm struggling to see the point of making the pass because at the moment he doesn't seem to have that pace in that BMW to be able to clear Herlock in front, Kirsten's in front in the Ferrari. Surely it would make more sense to follow him because they've still got 7 laps to go and see whether or not they can get to Suvik, and then with about 3 laps to go, if they can't get to Suvik, then go full bore at each other. And I'm not sure what the point of this actually is at this moment in time.
Unless they're both convinced that Suvik is going to pit and this is a fight for P3, then you can see they're catching even Funk now. He's a lap down and has to let them both through. Blue flags in effect at the carousel.
Yeah, but as we've learned, it doesn't necessarily mean to be let through. It just means to be don't hold your don't block your position there, as I found out. Now, do we think then, if this is a net P3, is Axel Laflamme safe in second place at this moment in time?
At the moment, I think Laflamme is doing everything he needs to. Beninka's basically out of the picture, given that he's basically fighting Day to get back into the top 10. And really, it's a 15-second gap to Kirby, 9 seconds to Suvik, who's kind of out of position a little bit. Unless Suvik is doing a super save strategy. He is lapping in the low 2-minute 14s at the moment. Kirsten and Herlock are now lapping low 2-minute 13, so a second lap quicker then. So even though they're starting to fight, Suvik does come in. So there we go. I did think it was going to be a long shot with 6 more laps to go. The fuel tank just wasn't quite big enough in that Ferrari. So Kirsten will come through into P3. You can see it there shadowing the Brazilian BMW, I think, just ahead of them. That must be Goncalves.
Yeah, he is. Finishes Goncalves there as well, down in 17th.
Oh! Bumps the back of him, and that gives an opportunity to Ross Smith.
Yeah, Dan Herlock.
Dan Herlock, not Ross Smith, sorry.
What are you looking at there, Ed? Ross Smith. Herlock and
yeah, sorry, I was thinking the Smith-William battle.
Suvik and Lalonde still go full bore at each other. Ian and Smith. Smith's dropped back about 1.1 seconds at the moment. Even Funk's leading Alan Smith, but again, there's Funk. There is Smith in the background. So he's not a million miles away. Now, I want to see, does this man have to go into the pits again?
Oof. Unless he's driving so fast that he's using more fuel than necessary, I think Dan has probably got this mapped out and in hand at the moment. He looks very confident. He doesn't look like a man panicking to try and save fuel. He's lapping in the 211.5s at the moment. Yeah, I don't think Dan Kirby... If Dan Kirby had suddenly slowed his pace, then I think that might be a bit of a telltale sign, but it looked like when he came out behind Beninka and Dahlgren, that was when he was saving a bit of fuel for this point of the race then. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he's got it in hand. So Suvik is pit, Lalonde is also pit, and they're both going to come out behind Dahlgren.
Yeah, give us a listen a minute. He's fuel saving. He lifted off way early there.
Well, he can afford to, can't he? 15-second gap, that's why you build it.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to be very interested on that one. I think there's been drama for Dan Erlott, judging by the message I've just had in YouTube chat. Oh, damn, what did you do? Oh, turn 5. No, 8, sorry.
Yes, entrance to carousel. Oh, and his rear's hit the wall as well. Luckily, only lost one place that, well, he was still where he was behind Kirsten there, but De Bruyn was 24 seconds behind then. So De Bruyn and Gutierrez have been having their own fight for what is now 5th as, oh dear, there goes the 42. That is Carl Struhal, who's actually still in the race, albeit 10 laps down on Adrian Rice, the next car in his class.
Yeah, Carl Struhal still coming back into the race.
You could still get a few points out of this. Oh, he's only 8 laps behind Adrian, sorry.
Now, Kirby goes round and it takes another car there. So good job from Dan Kirby motoring his way forward. That's kind of really separated the only gap that was sort of how it was going to pan out between Herlock and Kirstens. It's now kind of definitively Kirstens who has basically got the 3rd place, but I can't answer that question, Seawolf, whether or not Kirby is also due. The same with Axel Laflamme. It's going to be really close, but I don't know if Kirby's managed to save enough, to be honest with you, though, Ed.
Yeah, maybe all that brilliant 1-lap pace could be the undoing of Daniel Kirby here. We've seen... I would be very surprised to see him in again. I think he might be just about able to save enough. But in these older cars, it is actually very difficult to save fuel, to be honest. Especially if you've got your setup designed around basically just being maximum speed every lap, essentially. But yeah, you see Laflamme himself a little bit marginal on field 2. It could well be that Kirsten and Herlock may have been the ones fighting for the lead overall, with Kirby and Laflamme potentially losing too much time in the pit stop. But with 5 laps to go, it could be, if they're able to do the splash and dash just for fuel, they might be able to get out without losing as much time as we've seen some of the others. But yeah, it's not going to be ideal then. I think it's going to be touch and go, and it could well be like last lap heartbreak for both Kirby and Laflamme if they end up consuming too much.
Yeah, I think they're running on a limit. I think they've got a number, and I think they're sticking with it, to be honest with you. I don't think they're going to, overcook it. It would be a shame if they can. Smeraldi and Gutierrez are now together on track. Battle for 6th and 7th overall here. And it's weird, isn't it? Smeraldi, Benica, they were up 1st and 2nd. What was it?
Gutierrez backing off.
Yeah, let it through. They were right up the order, and now all of a sudden we're talking about them maybe finishing in 6th and 8th or whatever it is.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, Gutierrez especially has just dropped back throughout this race. The Mustang really not handling to his liking, I think. But yeah, Smeraldi has been drifting that Ferrari around. Let's hope the rear tyres can survive these next 4 laps or so. But I think Smeraldi, 4 seconds of course to De Bruyn, but he's not going to catch him driving like... I'm impressed to see De Bruyn in P5 because he was sort of 7th or 8th at the start of the race. Got hit in the pit lane during his pit stop by Day, I think it was. And then he's now somehow, through just strategically outfoxing those ahead who've had to do 2 stops, he's found himself in P5. It could even be maybe another couple of positions further up if Kirby or Laflamme pit and come out behind him.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's still, we think, in hindsight, Ed, when we're looking at it 28 laps in, everybody should be a straight race for the end, shouldn't it? This is how, I'm going to say normal races, but when you're on the edge like this, where they were pitting 15, 16, 17, to go double that, it's going to bring it very, very close. And do we think then that at this moment in time, everybody where they are, because they're all trying to get to the end, are going to stay where they are?
I think so, unless Smeraldi spins off track, trying to just absolutely fling the car through there. Laflamme is in. There we go, Laflamme in from P2 then. So he knew with 3 laps to go he was not going to make it. It's absolute heartbreak for the Belgian.
Yeah, so I think he's saved enough. And I think he's saved enough.
Oh, round goes Herlock again. Oh, dear, that's through the... not Bill Mitchell bend, is it? Billy Mitchell bridge. There we go. So he's just had a spin.
Turn 14.
14, yeah.
13 or 14. There, unfortunately for Dan Herlock. Everything for Herlock has just gone wrong at this moment in time. I don't think we need a replay of that. We literally saw it live. But for...
Yeah, I think the rear tyres is overheating on that BMW.
He's going to... Is he going to clear... Where is he in? There he is on the
there
right
he is, just
side
at the back
yellow.
of the picture.
Laflamme's still stationary. So that's another position for Axel Laflamme. He's now down to 4th. Where is Wouter de Bruin in conjunction? Watch on the right-hand
De
side.
Bruyn's coming through. Oh, it's going to be close. Oh, no, that's not him. That is Struhal.
Struhl, yeah. No, he should be coming over the hill. There he is.
There he is. Actually, Laflamme is still going to come out in P4 with 3 laps to go. So only 2 positions lost. It could have been a lot worse for him. But yeah, I think he's got very little chance of catching Herlock, unless Herlock is another spin, of course.
Yeah, but it's down here whether or not Smith's going to get to Funk. Paul, I like that reference very much. He said naming corners after EastEnders characters is a great idea. Oh, Smith. Well, that's not
Smith's used up a lot of tyres here.
Yeah, that's not going to help him get to Ethan Funk, who was battling away with Vinicius Comcalvins. It might even be worth Funk staying where he is at this moment in time. But
yes, after that spin for Funk cost him the lead, Alan Smith has hit some issues of his own. So Ethan Funk looking like he might be able to win the under 2 litres pro class.
Yeah. So there's Kirby again. So Seawolf said again, Kirby pitted at the end of lap 15. If he's able to fuel save all the way to the end, then that would be amazing fuel saving. So 15 makes him go 17 laps.
He's got a 37-second gap to Kirsten then. So, but that still would be enough for Kirsten to catch him if he pit, I think, at this point, given the length of the pit stop. It's too risky. It's actually less of a risk to fuel save and stay out at this point. By the way, Beninka has just passed Gutierrez to get back into the top 7, and he's right behind Oliver Day. So Day, all of a sudden, is holding on to P6 at the moment. So there's a very, very close fight between this lot here, but you can tell Gutierrez especially is fuel saving. He wasn't even fighting De Bruyn earlier, was he?
No, and that's the thing, isn't it, at the moment here as well. I think this is the thing with this series. Because the pit stops are so long, it really does juggle up so much. It puts people all over the place. You know, as Smeraldi down in 9th at the moment, which is nuts. Angelidis all the way down.
He might have had a
13th.
spin or something, yeah, Smeraldi.
It's just absolutely bonkers. So, you know, hey, loving it. And let's see how Kirby goes as we're going on to lap 30. Well, we're on 30 at the moment.
Yeah, the comment from Seawolf9616 in the chat says Kirby pit at the end of lap 15. If he's able to fuel save all the way to the end of lap 32, then that would be amazing fuel saving. I think I agree on that front, but at the moment, Kirby, if he was going to back out, he would have done what Laflamme did. I think he's committed to this now. It is win it or run out of fuel on the run to that uphill run to the line, which could be extremely painful if that happens.
Yeah, I wonder if anybody would give him a push or would they overtake him?
Do you think Kirsten would? I doubt it.
No, he'll probably shove him off the racetrack or so to make sure he don't get there.
Or more yellows out there in
Alan
sector
Smith.
1.
Smith again.
Oh dear.
Turn 5.
Oh, you see Goncalves having a moment in front of him, but yeah, it's exactly what we saw before, but just really wide on the outside, couldn't get it slowed down, has to spin turn it, and you can tell Smith is desperately just trying to get to the end now to bang that second position, because I think Funk has got things all under control now in that Lancia.
I think so too.
Kirby in! Oh my goodness, speaker, he's going to pit on the start of the penultimate, this is the start of the penultimate lap, isn't it?
Yep, it's into lap 31.
Well, Kirsten's got to know this. He's got to push now like crazy to make sure he gets out ahead. Even there, this might not be enough for Nicholas Kirsten. It could be that Kirby, waiting for the last possible moment, may be able to overcut. In fact, he's coming out now.
Yeah, Kirby's still out. Kirsten should be coming over the hill very, very shortly. Is that a monster? Is it a monster? No, it's Nicholas Kirsten's, and he still can't get there. Kirby's still out in front by 8.5 seconds.
Yeah, you see Angelides and Chen, I think, have had to make another splash and dash as well. So that means Oyen and Smith are basically running on fumes to get to the end of this point.
Yeah, everybody looks like they're running low here. So it's going to be interesting to see who can get there. Kirby's gone in and out at the same time, but where does that leave John Huyan then? Can he now get to the end?
It's going to be a big ask. Him and Smith pit on the same lap as well, so they're in the exact same situation, aren't they? Oliver Day still doing very well to hold off Eduardo Beninca for P6 in the 2-liter pros, but you can tell Beninca is about 1.3 seconds per lap quicker here, so it's kind of got a feeling of inevitability here. Day has only got to hold on for another lap after this one, but Beninca is throwing absolutely everything at that P6 right now just to get something out of this race. There they are.
Yeah, 6th and 7th there as well. Dan Kirby, whereabouts are you at the moment? You're around the carousel here. He's going to have one more lap after this. It looks like Ethan Funk may have caused himself some drama.
Oh no!
The wrong way. There goes Alan Smith.
Oh my goodness, that's heartbreaking for Ethan.
Coming into 5.
Oh, all on his own, too far over the curb.
How did he end up there? Why didn't he back up? Go.
I think he wanted to, but he was kind of panicking here.
He had time then to back and go around the other way. There goes Axel Laflamme. And there goes Alan Smith.
Well, that's a costly error.
Yeah.
And 3.5 seconds now, the gap. It's difficult unless Ethan gets very lucky. Smith now is going to basically back off and get to the end there. So Daniel Kirby is about to start the final lap. He's not going to win by 37 seconds, but he is going to win by around about 7 or 8 seconds now, the way things are going from Nicholas Kirsten.
Yeah, absolutely there, unfortunately, for Ethan Funk. Lost that lead to Alan Smith. Dan Kirby out in front at the moment in time. Vinicius Goncalves has just been off the side of the circuit at this moment. Where is John Huyan? He's still out on track coming around the carousel. He should have enough to get to the end of this race. Alan Smith, I think Smith is fuel saving. It was 3.5 seconds. It's now only 1.8. So, oh dear, yeah, to the head.
Yeah, they're both also very, very low on tyres at this point. You can see with the way both of them were spinning into turn 5, essentially. So here we go. It's going to be a last lap shootout between these two then. 32 laps, and it all comes down to this then. Can Alan Smith hold on, or will Ethan Funk in the Lancia get the better of the BMW 320 Turbo?
I've got a funny feeling.
Oh, very close into turn 1. He's not going to let him go, surely, with a win up for grabs here. And class sideways coming out as well. Oh! Onto the grass for Ethan! Oh! Just the tiniest of hits. But that's scary times for Ethan Funk, but he's going to breeze past him now, surely, if he times this right. Oh, but he's got to let the other car through De Bruyne.
Yeah. Surely he's got to get him. He's going to lift well early. Even I know that. Even I know that. There you go. Ethan Funk after his drama.
Oh! What are you doing, Alan? My goodness.
They're going to be side by side. Oh,
he was driving into Ethan there.
Where's Dan Kirby? Okay, he's still got one more corner to go. This is for the lead in the under 2L Pros.
He's the only two in the race, but they're certainly putting on a show, aren't they? Alan Smith not willing to give up out of fire. He just went crazy in the braking zone, but now it's Ethan Funk's turn as they go into, I think, turn 7.
Oh, here he comes. Dan Kirby's going to take the win in this one. Over the line he goes on lap 32. I think John Huyan is going to take the victory there as well in his class. I do want to get back to Ethan Funk, but we'll wait for John here. Oh no, it should be these two guys first, actually. Come on, Alan.
Ethan's ahead then.
Now you got to give it some, regardless how your fuel is. All or nothing, innit? All or nothing.
Well, surely, yeah, but only 2 left. There's nothing to lose at this point for Smith, as we saw with that move really late in the brakes into 5. But I think at the carousel, Ethan just about got the better run and has been able to pull away then. So Ethan Funk is going to hold on to the under 2-liter Pro class lead then, despite that late spin there. So what a harem-scarum victory this is going to be.
Yeah, he's going to come up over the top of the hill now for Ethan Funk. He's going to take the win. How? I do not know. Oh, no!
Smith coming in.
Yeah, Smith's coming in at the end. He's like, get me over the line. I don't know if I'm going to have enough.
He's run out in the pit lane.
He did make it there. Adrian Rice has finished, and it's going to leave John Uyan to take the victory as well in the 2L AMS. Uyan coming over the line. Job done for him. Well done to all the guys that got finished here as well. Smeraldi, disappointingly, over the line in 10th. Magnus Dahlgren in 11th. Ross Smith in 12th. And there is Timon Suvic still running around the track with Gilles Lalonde as well. But how disappointed will some be, Ed? And how happy will others be?
Well, I think those that gambled on the strategy like Beninka and Suvic, they sort of knew by not changing tyres that they'd sort of put themselves in a position where they had to really gain ground in that middle stint, build a huge gap that they could pit into essentially, and they couldn't quite pull it off. But of course, we did see Laflamme and Kirby having to make those late splash and dash stops as well. I think Laflamme may feel a little annoyed because there was a podium up for grabs there, especially with Herlock spinning. He somehow was able to still hold on to P3 there. But as Gilles Lalonde there completes the race behind Timon Suvic then. But yeah, lots of dramatic stories there, but I think 4 very deserving winners in our 4 classes there.
Absolutely.
We didn't talk about Adrian Rice crossing the line as well. Well done, Dave.
Yeah, him. Dan Kirby is your winner ahead of Nicholas Kirstens and Dan Herlock. Then it's Axel Laflamme and Wouter de Bruin with Ollie Day, Eduardo Benico and Johnny Gutierrez. John Uyan leading the 2L AMS. He's ahead of Alexandro Smeraldi, Magnus Dahlgren with Ross Smith in second, Timon Suvic, Gilles Lalonde and George Angelidis down in third. Jerry Chen in 16th, Kincalvis 17th, and Ethan Funk takes the win in the U2L Pros with Smith in behind it, and Adrian Rice, the only runner in the U2L AMS. He comes over the line as well in 20th. Then behind that is Carl Struhl. Then it's Nate Shiro, DNF, blew up. Maximilian Petravki, big old smash with a brake pedal failure. And Hubert Van Gashoven, who got DQ'd for reversing up the pit lane. So not good from them, but a great little battle there between Smith and Ethan Funk. Couldn't really tell who was going to come out on top on that one.
Yeah, they both made their fair share of mistakes in the end, and you could tell Smith had a little bit of a fuel disadvantage having pit a lap or two earlier than Ethan Funk there. So the Lancia maybe having a little bit better fuel mileage than the BMW 320 with the turbo in it. But I think Ethan Funk really had to do the business on that final lap. Smith threw absolutely everything at it to try and hold on with that ridiculously audacious move into turn 5. But we love to see it. It's classic Alan Smith stuff there. But yeah, Ethan Funk really had to hold his nerve. We didn't see it because Kirby was crossing the line at the same time, but he made a really, really good move through the carousel to retake the lead there. So, I think Ethan will be a little bit nervous after that one, relieved to have gotten through.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's have a chat with Adrian Rice, your 2LM winner. Adrian, well done. It was a battle between you and Carl Struhl. You come out on top, son. How was it out there taking a victory?
Yeah, up until the pit stop, it was good, but then after that, my driving quality just went through the toilet. So it wasn't very good the last 10 laps, but all I had to do was survive, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all you did need to do, mate, as well, and get to the end with a car in one piece.
Well, most of it, I think if it had damage in these cars, I think the front would look pretty bad.
Yeah, absolutely. And how was Road America itself out there with traffic?
No, it was pretty good. I mean, it's not a huge numbers, but enough to keep it interesting. But everyone's pretty good in this group, so you don't have too many problems. At least in the historics, anyway. Yeah,
absolutely. We're Adrian heading to Silverstone next time out, so we'll hopefully see you there, buddy. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
No, I'm just me. That's all I'm doing these days.
All right, bud. Well, take care. We'll catch up with you soon.
All right, thank you.
And next up, we'll have a chat with Ethan Funk, your 2L Pro winner. great battle with Alan Smith. Alan Smith said something a little bit worrying there. He said, I forgot we were 1 lap down. I was fine, but I lost track of it with all the chaos, Ethan. How do you respond to that?
Yeah, I mean, it was a very attention-consuming race. I think we were both pushing each other hard all the way through. No idea where it was going to go, so I can see how you would lose track of something like that.
Yeah, it was weird, wasn't it? But you almost threw it away at the end there as well in turn 5.
Yeah, multiple times.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and did you worry that he was going to take the victory?
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. It was just so close. Again, I had no idea which way it was going to go. But, you know, like, he was most of the time either far ahead in the track or, you know, way behind in my mirror, but I could see him, and that was enough to, I don't know, keep the pressure going. It was great. It was great.
Yeah, absolutely. And a great little fight all the way to the end there, buddy. And looking forward to seeing how this one pans out in Silverstone. Where do you see sort of the championship going? Because, you know, JT Tammy not here, you and Smith fight it out. It's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah, at the moment, it looks like JT is definitely going to run away with it. There's no way I'm catching up to that. But I'd like to consolidate second if I can.
Well, hopefully we'll see how that one goes there, buddy, and hopefully you will. Listen, looking forward to seeing how you get on in Silverstone. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
I guess Ellen for the great battle. Best race I've had in probably years. And just you, the commentators, everyone who puts this league on, who makes the cars, fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely, Rod. Well, looking forward to seeing how you get on, mate, and we'll catch up with you soon.
All right, thank you very much. Have a good one.
And you. So we're going to have a chat now with John Uyan in the 2-litre AMs there as well. Victory for John here. How is that going to pan out for him in his championship? He went in 7 points. He's taken more points out of Smith. Let's see how he got on. John, welcome in, bud.
Hello. Second race in a row. I'm kind of getting used to this.
I know, dude. Are you going to be on a roll in Silverstone?
I might. I think I'm going to be missing Silverstone because I'm traveling to Istanbul. Unfortunately, that very same day.
Just around the corner. You going there for holiday?
Sorry?
Holiday?
Yeah, holiday.
Nice.
Or holiday, vacation, whatever you call it, for 2 weeks. I need to get away from work.
I agree with you, mate, as well. I fully agree with you. John, how do you see the championship going? Still a free-car fight with Jerry Chen, maybe forward George?
Maybe they need maybe a little bit more luck, especially George. He's either on or off, but he's definitely there. Gary's always consistent. I don't know how he finished today, though, to be honest. But he was there. Ross is obviously. I'm happy that I'm beating Ross in this fuel game. This race was pretty much, 100% fuel game, fuel saving. Being able to go 17 laps, I was definitely sweating, doing a lot of calculations and whatnot, because I was planning to go 16 laps, and then 15 laps, and then I was banking on, leaders to lap us, and I realized leaders were just too slow, and probably they were saving too. So I squeezed a little bit more in 17 laps first stint. That was obviously Ross matched me on that too. We entered the pits and left pits pretty much the same time. Mm-hmm. It was very, very good race with him.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking forward to seeing how you get on when you do return back there, John. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
This one should be for Don Freeman, our track modder. He did an update. We discovered that the in wet conditions, the dry tires were, the track was not switching from the surface was not switching dry to wet. So he had to do last minute corrections to that and put another version out there. Because I was adamant about, we were talking about it, and I was adamant about, we cannot go to a race like this and all that. So I don't know if he was happy with me or angry or not, but last night he did it. So much appreciated.
All right, Bob. Well, take care, John, and we'll catch up with you soon. Enjoy your holiday, buddy.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So next up, we're going to have a chat with Mr. Dan Kirby. Once again, a winner on the racetrack. Dan, welcome in, bud. How are you?
Tired, but good.
Tired, but good. Dude, you were out in front for ages. Weren't you bored?
No way. It's one of those races where it was lonely, but not easy. That car is an absolute bitch to drive.
Dude, fuel saving as well. We'll skip over that, Ed. It means a female dog. It's fine. I know what he meant.
I know perfectly well what it means.
I know what he meant. Dan, fuel saving your head off there going into the end.
Yeah, I was saving the whole race. Still had pretty good pace while saving, but I ran the numbers and there's no way I could save even more to do the one stop, so I had to do a little splash, but yeah, luckily I had good enough pace to pull the gap and still maintain the lead.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to see you for the rest of the season, Dan?
For the historics, no. I'm just kind of coming in and out whenever I have the time and stuff.
All right, man. Well, looking forward to seeing how you get on in the modern there, buddy. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go, mate?
I just want to dedicate this win to my dad, who passed away 3 years exactly on this day. So.
No, man. Well, I'm sure he'll be proud of you there, fella, as well. So take care, Dan. And we may see you at Silverstone. We may not.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. Thanks, guys.
Okay. So there you go. It was Dan Kirby there at the same time, Ed. And, well, a thrilling race. And looking forward to seeing how they go at Silverstone.
Exactly. Yeah, lovely to hear that tribute from Dan Kirby to his late father as well. Yeah. So yeah, it may have seemed from the outside like, oh, Dan was just leading and had to fuel save, but you could tell there was a lot that he had to deal with, especially towards the end when he knew he had to make the stop and he decided not to come in when Laflamme did. He pulled out those few extra laps, and that ensured he had that 7-second buffer to second place as well. So yeah, it's very, very close. At the top of 2-liter pros between our sort of three title contenders there, who were second, third, and fourth essentially behind them. So yeah, that's going to be really fascinating to see how that all filters out. But yeah, and a fantastic under 2-liter pro finish as well. That I'm sure we're going to be talking about for days and weeks to come. But yeah, really enjoyed commentating on it, James.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, guys, that's going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for joining us. I've been James Parfitt alongside Mr. Edward Hunter. And as always, take care. Have a great week. And you never know, we might see you on the track sometime. Good night.